I seriously thought he was dead.
Disclaimer, you're about to see the most wicked bump in WWE Monday Night Raw history.
Serious about this, somebody's got to check McDonagh after that.
Holy crap, that bump happened January 27th on Monday Night Raw, so we've been about like a month and 2 or 3 weeks now, and here JD is talking to Chris Van Vliet. I'm going to be drawing heavy on that interview. I have no affiliation with Chris Van Vliet, however, he is probably, without a doubt, the best WWE interviewer of all time. Go check out his channel. I'll put it in the description below. Anyways.
How are you even like walking right now?
Time heals all, you know?
It's been like a month and here he is just laughing, having a good old time talking about that injury. Holy crap. I was like, I'm going to show you footage in a minute of how I reacted when I saw that, because the dude, did you see his head snap back? Not only does he have the whiplash effect of his neck, but then his head completely hits that announce table. And if you don't know, that announce table has been reinforced to the nines. Nobody has been able to break it, and JD almost broke his freaking skull on it. This is my live reaction. I stream every Monday night and Friday night, and this is me watching it. Let me... Oh, did he hit his head? Uh-oh. Instantly, I could tell something was wrong, and then when they did the replay, this is my real reaction, because at first you didn't see a good shot, but then they replayed it, and here's my reaction. Oh, God. Holy crap. I legit was so concerned for the guy. And it's like, how are you even walking, dude?
I wasn't like this the first week or two after, but I'm feeling a lot better now.
Feeling a lot better now. Like, I thought he was dead. And so did Michael Cole, actually.
I seriously thought he was dead.
Well, time heals all wounds. And he just has a good spirit about him. That's what I'm going to love about this interview. But let's just get more into it.
Yeah, how are you feeling?
Pretty good. Pretty good. My lungs good. My ribs are good. I'm just kind of waiting for the bones to knit back together before they clear me.
What's crazy about that statement is, if you remember in the beginning, I said his neck had whiplash, his head hit the table, and here he is not even talking about that stuff. He's talking about his ribs. Why is he talking about his ribs?
Well, what bones?
I punctured my my lung with my 7th rib.
And that's the craziest thing. What I was so concerned about on my live stream has nothing to do with his real injury. He punctured his lung with his rib. Oh my God. And then he continued the match. But when he hit the table, if you notice, he hits the table backwards. And when he goes like this, when he's leaning back, like his ribs goes into his lung. Oh my God. I'm worried about his head, but he's dying. He's literally can't breathe.
It looks so bad.
It didn't feel great.
Just so freaking painful looking, and it's not even the head or the neck. It's a punctured lung. So if I can just interrupt the video for a second, I usually do a cute little segue into these things, but I don't know, this, while it's not a like somber video, it does feel like a little more serious of a video. So I'm just gonna say, hey, cut for a second and talk to you about the contest I'm holding. Every 10,000 subscribers I get, I'm gonna give away a belt. So at 20,000 subscribers, I'm literally gonna give away a belt. I've already given away 2, and all you got to do to enter, though, is comment below. Any comment, doesn't matter what you say, and please be kind and respectful, but you can do whatever you want, say whatever you want in the comments, and then just subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and give a thumbs up. Please give this a thumbs up. I want a lot of people to really know what a warrior JD is, so I hope this video really gets out there. And I hope it gets out there selfishly for me, too. I'm not going to lie. I want to succeed. I want JD to succeed, and I want to succeed. But yeah, you can win this belt once I hit 20,000 subscribers. Live stream, everything. All right, so let's get back to the video.
It's one of the scariest spots I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a freak accident on my part, I guess.
I love that he doesn't blame anybody. Freak accident on my part. And he's not being all like, I don't know, he could gain so much with this accident, and he's kind of playing it down and being very humble. The dude was a warrior, a straight up warrior, and yet, oh yeah, freak accident my part. Not blaming anybody but himself and downplaying it.
So what was it? What went wrong?
I texted him the other day. I said, dude, what are you thinking?
But that distance and then the table right there, this wouldn't have even made it past the ideation phase.
Logan Paul Paul has his own podcast, right? He's actually very like in shock and amazed at the grit of wrestlers. Logan Paul is coming from a guy who just, and I'm not throwing shade, but he's just coming from the perspective of a guy who just walked into the business and never had to really deal with any of this stuff. So his mind is literally being blown to how tough wrestling and wrestlers actually are, because in his mind he's like, well, how could this idea have even passed? How could they even got it passed through the bookers and Michael Cole? It's like normalized for Michael Cole. The craziness that wrestlers will put their bodies through, but Logan Paul, who is a wrestler now, it's not normal for him yet. And so watch Logan Paul's reactions to Michael Cole, who says everything just so normal.
I guess it was in the planning stage, really. Well, I needed to be on that side of the ring for something that was going to come up later on.
He probably just called it in the ring. Crazy. He's insane.
And you see Logan Paul, he's like, what? Just called it in the ring? Again, no shade, but a lot of Logan Paul matches are probably very rehearsed. And it is what it is. I don't care. He entertains me. Whether the match is rehearsed or not doesn't matter as long as the final product is good. But for Logan Paul to be like, this dude almost died, and it was not even rehearsed, it was just called in the ring, it's just mind-blowing to him.
So I said, I'll just do it on the announce table side. I've done it on that side before, but whatever happened on this one, I just foot too far forward or foot too far back, and I just wiped out.
Wiped out. It was my fault. I knew I had to be over on that side of the ring, so I figured I'd just flip over there, not over here. Oops, a foot too far, punctured my lung. Big freaking deal, right, JD?
I think when you initially see it, you immediately think like the whiplash was bad. People immediately think it's a head injury or it's a neck injury.
Yeah,
100%. I don't know how. He didn't die right there with his neck or his head. I don't know how this is a lung injury. I still cannot wrap my mind around this.
Punctured lung, I don't think is what people expected.
Punctured lung, not on the bingo card. I did not see that and was like, that's a punctured lung.
I've got a couple of broken ribs and a punctured lung, so I'm going to be out for a couple months. All things considered, it could have been a lot worse, so I'm grateful for that. See ya in a bit.
Could have been a lot worse. You say that again.
in that moment, I was just thinking, when's the next breath going to come?
Man, wrestlers are a different breed. They are a different breed. If I'm ever in a situation where I'm like, when's my next breath gonna come? I'm just gonna instantly panic. I'm gonna crap my pants and panic.
Knew that I didn't hit my head that hard because I knew I'd missed a spot in the match and I knew what was coming up next.
So you were
So I was like,
you still had your faculties about you.
Yeah. So
Did you catch that? He knew he was okay because he was like, I missed a spot in my match. All he's thinking about is the match and when his lungs are going to actually start getting some air again. But those are his two thoughts. When am I going to breathe next? And, oh crap, I missed a spot. I missed a move in my match. Much respect, dude. Much respect. And then he's like, and I know what my next move is supposed to be. So now he's like, I got to get to that move.
I knew I wasn't unconscious or anything like that. And then like an out of body experience listening to Michael Cole with the concern in his voice.
Oh my God! JD McDonagh may be knocked out cold.
You know, I've heard him all through the years being like, we got to get a medic down here.
JD McDonagh hit the back of his head on the announce table.
But he was saying it with such urgency.
Somebody better check on McDonagh out here.
I saw what happened and I could hear Michael Cole and I knew something. I knew it was bad. And, stop the match. If you got to stop the match, stop the match. Like, it's not worth it.
But it wasn't just a line. Like you could tell he was like, no, seriously, like someone needs to come check on JD McDonagh.
Yeah.
I'm serious about this. Somebody's got to check McDonagh after that.
JD McDonagh on Raw last week.
Oh, no.
He hit the desk so hard, it moved our desk back. I seriously thought he was dead.
No idea how McDonagh is still moving.
And I'm glad Michael Cole kept calling for medics to come down because it was very, very serious.
Wiggled my fingers and toes and I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that.
Oh my God, that, again, it's just so insane to me. I can wiggle my fingers and toes.
Got a breath back. I can probably stand up. So I stood up and got back in there.
Like, I can stand up. I got a breath back. The dude is just, he is just a machine. He's a Terminator right now. All he wants to do is get back in the ring. When you're in a position where you're like, oh, see if I can wiggle my fingers and toes, that means you have a legit concern that you could be paralyzed. So here's a dude who's like, maybe I'm paralyzed. Well, nope, guess not. Let's go.
Did you realize how bad it was at that time?
I thought it was like maybe cracked ribs. I could feel like my ribs on this side was like Rice Krispies under my skin.
Please don't ever refer to your ribs as Rice Krispies under your skin. Like, that means his bone was just completely, that is so gross. The dude gets up and knows that he's got broken ribs. At the very least, he knows he's got broken ribs. He doesn't know that it's punctured his lung, but from this point forward, anything he does in his head, he's like, I've got broken ribs. And then the match, he just keeps going.
I was like, that's okay, they're definitely messed up.
Yeah, Chris. Oh is right. Oh, God, that's gross. Rice Krispies, gross.
Come to find out later, he had broken ribs and a punctured lung. And he went on and finished the match. Another 10 minutes.
Perhaps you could help me understand why he did that.
I have no idea.
Again, Logan Paul's just like, dude, this is insane. Is this what I got myself into? And yes, Logan Paul, this is what you got yourself into. And it's beautiful and insane all at the same time.
I couldn't get a full lung full of air, but I just thought that was because I was winded from hitting the table. And then the adrenaline kicked in.
Good thing for adrenaline, because I guess air is second to adrenaline when you're a wrestler. And it's just like, the more this interview goes on, the more I'm just like, what? JD, you psychopath, stop the match.
And I was, okay, I can do this. I can, get back in there and do my part in the match.
You see him holding his rib? You see him holding his rib when he comes in there? Rice Krispies. See how fast he sped up to? Guy's not pulling punches. He's going. And he goes on to say that he's doing it because
one of the first few weeks that we were on Netflix, everyone's excited about it. Huge audience watching you. Raiders first defense. I didn't want to, if I can stand up and keep participating, then I'm gonna. Yeah.
We're new on Netflix. There's a lot of people watching. People paid good money to be there. This is the War Raiders' first defense. He didn't want to disappoint anybody. It's like, dude, what about you? That's the mentality of this guy. That's the mentality of JD. And I absolutely love it. And don't get me wrong, he should have stopped the match. 100% the match should have been stopped. And JD, I hope you never put yourself through that again. But I gotta say, I do fully admire you for that mentality, for that warrior's heart, for that spirit of just making sure everybody else is taken care of. You can't even breathe, dude. And you're like, man, I don't want to ruin the War Raiders' first title defense. That's your thought process? That would not be my thought process. My thought process would be, help, help, help. Someone can't breathe.
You absolutely wanted to go in and finish
I'm not
it.
blowing smoke. The thought of stopping didn't even enter my mind.
I believe him. It's like, actions speak louder than words. I can see it. That guy he was not on the ring apron for any longer than he needed to be. He got up as the moment he could.
The referee came down and he asked me what city we were in and what date it was. And I told him that I'm okay. And I told him where we were and what we were doing. I said, tell Dom that I'm okay and I just need a minute. Pass the message on. And then
you can see the referee did communicate with JD. JD does say that the ref got some heat online for not stopping the match, but JD was like, that's me. I told him I was okay. The ref can only go off of what I am telling him. So he said, do not blame the referee at all for not stopping the match. I believe it is the wrestler's job in this situation to tell the ref if there is something wrong, because he answered all the questions correctly. So he could tell that there was no concussion. So the ref can't see if there's a punctured lung. You can't see that. The worry was the head. So, not the ref's fault.
One of the WWE docs came out in the ad break. She checked me over and I knew if she touched my ribs, she wouldn't let me back in there. And she thankfully asked me about my head and my neck rather than my ribs.
If anybody's at fault here, it is JD for being such a freaking warrior and wanting to continue the match, because they would have stopped it about the refs. And it's funny though, because he's like, asked about my head and neck, but didn't ask about my ribs. So in his mind, he never lied. He just omitted the truth.
There was a spot coming up in the match where I was needed, so I was like, I gotta go.
And then he's like, I gotta go by. You know, what are you supposed to do as a doctor? You know, again, he was right. He was all right in the head, and all the evidence pointed to a head or neck injury. And JD just like, gotta finish this match.
Dom looked like he had genuine concern on his face.
Yeah, he was pale for a little bit.
And I think Michael Cole even said it on that interview on Logan Paul's podcast. Michael Cole thought you were dead.
I seriously thought he was dead.
It was a big impact. Yeah, for sure.
Dom, very worried about you. Michael Cole thought you were dead. Yeah, that was a big impact. That's all I gotta say about that. The word of this video is warrior. JD McDonagh is a warrior.
Got back in the ring to finish the match. What's going through your head?
What's the next thing? Okay, it's a big back body drop. Not ideal.
His ribs are puncturing his lungs right now, and he takes that big back body drop. And not only that, he knew he had to take the big back body drop, and he was just like, all right, well, let's just get it over with. And it's like, there's some truth in that. If you got some obstacles in your way, just get them over with. Take the big back body drop right away. Don't put it off. Just get it over with. Punctured lung or not.
The one thing that I did change in the match, and Dom is going to kill me for telling this story, the finishing stretch that we talked about, I said it would be cool if we could do 619, you tag me in, I'll do a 450, I'll bounce off him, I'll tag you in, you hit the frog splash. That'll be like our super finisher.
That's cool. That's a little peek behind the curtain. That's what was supposed to happen. But JD's like, can't do that. I'm too, like, he's out of breath. He's going to say that he's completely done. He's gassed because he's made it this far. Like, no shade, because, like, dude, I probably couldn't even make it down the entrance when I'm being introduced without being out of breath, let alone wrestling a match with a punctured lung.
It's super late in the match now, so I have no air left.
So it's super late in the match. He's done. He has to adjust now. He has to call it in the ring.
And I tried to say to him, I can't do the 450. But he didn't hear me. He'd taken off for the 619.
He's the only one that knows he's as hurt as he is. He hasn't disclosed it to anybody because they probably would have just ended the match like sane human beings. Everybody's back in the moment. Everybody but JD knows that he's pretty much done, but not done yet.
Please, God, just let him go up for the frog splash. He hits the 619 and he runs across to me. No.
So you hear he's like, no. He's like saying, please don't tag me in his head, right? He can't even say it out loud because he's out of breath. But if you watch his actions, he takes the tag and he just goes off running. Here's a dude that just said, I'm too gassed to do anything to finish the match how we said. And yet, okay, well, I got tagged. He just runs. You know what I would have instantly done? I would have just turned around and tagged Dom back in. But not JD. He just takes off and runs and, well.
So the one modification I made was I knew I'd really hurt myself if I did the 450. And I've done that moonsault probably 10,000 times. And I knew I could kind of protect myself a little. And Ivar's a big guy too, big landing pad.
Wait a minute. He said, I can't do the 450 splash, so I'll just do a moonsault instead because I have done that 800 times. The dude still lands on his ribs. Oh, yeah, but I'm landing on a fat guy. That's what he said. I'm landing on a fat guy. It'll be fine. No, dude. No, dude. Jeez.
I thought this is going to be the last big move that I do. I'll make it a good one and get out of here.
This is a match that they're going to lose, but mind you, me. No matter what, he's going to lose this match, but he's like, this is the last move of them, and it has to be good. He wanted to give everybody, the viewers at home, the viewers, the butts in the seats, and the tag team champions, he wanted to give everybody a good, spectacular match. So he does a move that, without a doubt, will further aggravate the broken ribs that he knows he has, let alone the punctured lung that he doesn't know he has. But you know what? I've done that move 100 times. He's fat. I'll land on him. You know, it won't hurt as much.
So you'll just land on your cracked ribs. Like, think about that. The impact that you would have on a moonsault.
Mm-hmm.
That you'd think that was a safer call.
It wasn't like a measured decision that I made. It was all adrenaline in the heat of the moment.
Okay, admittedly, that one wasn't smart. I like how he throws that in there, but hey, it was all adrenaline.
The amount of respect that you've received from people online, I'm sure it's been from your colleagues as well, like
mad respect. I'm not a colleague of JD. I can only imagine how much respect that he has garnered from all the boys in the back, especially the veterans, who that was just how it was done back in the day. But I will say online, much respect. I'm going to show you a clip now of me actually after reacting to that. Again, when it was happening live, when I thought he was out of danger, that this is what I said.
A lot of respect. I got a lot of respect for JD right now, and all wrestlers. We take them for granted.
I stand by that. We definitely take them for granted. And at any moment, something could go wrong and we could lose them forever. And I just want, like, JD, if like somehow, some way you are ever get this in front of you, thank you very much for that effort that you put in. But please don't ever do that again. If there's Rice Krispies or any other cereal that you're feeling that you want to compare your bones to, well, then just call it, dude. They'll figure out a way to fill in, you know, the TV time. We want you, JD. We don't care about your match as much as we care about you, and that goes to all other wrestlers. But mad respect. I cannot thank you enough.
The amount of grit that you had to finish that match, it's incredible.
On the subject of grit, here's one last thing. See those feet on the ground? That's JD. He collapsed the moment he got backstage. He didn't want the fans to see, apparently, so he walked as far away from the ring as he could before his body just said, we're done. Like, dude, that guy wrestled and stood as long as physically possible for our entertainment. That's insane.
I think there's a good few people in our locker room that would do the same thing if it came down to it.
And again, just his humbleness, trying to deflect. You know, take your flowers, dude. The amount of grit that you displayed there, 100% agree with Chris Van Vliet. Dude, you're a warrior. Right now, you proved it. And no one can take that away from you. I hope this is a launching pad. I hope this is a moment, a turning point in your career. When you come back, I'm going to be cheering you, dude. I am going to be cheering you. You have gained yourself a lifelong fan. I have nothing but the utmost respect for you. And I hope that everybody in internet land has it for you as well. If you want to see the rest of this interview, go to the Chris Van Vliet channel. I'll put it in the description below. Boys, girls, have a great day. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you now all appreciate JD McDonagh, the warrior.